We had a safe and enjoyable trip to Texas. We've got good news and a little bit of bad news. Hi, I'm Steve Turtle, and this story is all about us getting to Texas to start gate guarding. Now, when we travel, we don't follow a straight line. As we see things that interest us, we go off in that direction and see them when we can. Sometimes, you're pressed for time, but we like to enjoy our trips. See, Jill has one of those national park passports. So as we travel, we stop at all the historical places. Jill likes old stuff, historical stuff, like me. Now, for this story, I'd like to share a few of our stops that we had along the way. Well, we started this trip off in Lake Ozark, Missouri at the Riverview RV Park, and it was rainy and it was cold. But the further I drove south, the better the weather got and the bigger my smile. We didn't get too far. Right outside of Tulsa, Jill saw that Will Rogers' birth home, or boyhood home, was right on our way. We stopped, of course. Our first day ended in Atoka, Oklahoma, and we found a pilot truck stop, and we spent the night there. A little bit on a hill, but it wasn't bad. It's cheap too. We had breakfast, and we got on our way the next morning, heading to Denison, Texas. Now, this was actually a planned stop to visit Dwight D. Eisenhower's boyhood home. Taking 75?
73, I thought you said.
Yeah, I thought so.
Welcome to Texas.
Okay, so we're in Denison, Texas, and this is the birthplace of Dwight D. Eisenhower. He was born here and then moved away by the time he was 18 months old. This is actually the side of the house. Got some video of the front of the house. It's sort of hard because the sun's not in our favor, but it's pretty neat. We just had a tour. The house is actually a lot better shape than it was when he actually lived here, which was many years ago. But it's a pretty nice exhibit. Now, while on the road and just outside of Waco, we decided we were going to do our first live video. Don't figure. Probably the hardest part, driving and videoing and everything else. Plus, we were challenged somewhat because we couldn't find the comments. About 11 minutes into the video, which was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but a hoot for us, we figured it out. And after that, we had a pretty good video. I enjoyed it. All the comments were good. We talked to friends and family. And I think that's going to be something that I'm going to do a little more often. I got to get settled in this gate guard thing. And then once I figure it out, I'll let you know when we're going to have our next live video. Oh, and if you missed it and you want to check it out up there or over there. I'm not sure. Our second day ended at Fort Hood, Belton Lake Recreational Campground, where we stayed for $20 a night. That's pretty good. Full hookups. Wasn't a bad sight.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory.
Day 3 and 4, we were at Fort Hood, Texas. That was sort of my boyhood home. Not really. I was stationed there between 1982 and 1985, about 36 years ago, which, wow, things do change over time. I didn't know where half the stuff was. And my barracks where I used to live, man, that place is in shambles. Yeah, 33 years ago, this was 6th Cavalry Brigade area, and now it belongs to the 1st Cavalry, and it looks pretty bad. But I lived in one of these billets right here. I'm not sure if it was this one or the next one over. but that's where I lived when I first came to Fort Hood 33 years ago. So while we were at Fort Hood, we drove around, I reminisced, I talked to Jill about where I'd been and lived and worked and all that good stuff and pointed out stuff. We had a chance to go to a memorial park there at the 3rd Corps headquarters and check that out. And then we went over to the 1st Cavalry's museum and look at some of the old stuff. I wasn't in there, but I should have been.
The free, count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off and cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
The next day we left Fort Hood. We went down to just outside of Austin and visited with some friends of ours. Went out to eat, of course, and had a good time. And then in the afternoon we headed out to Johnson City. Our 4th day ended at Lyndon Cafe, just outside of Johnson City. We rolled into Johnson City and everything was closed, so we started towards Fredericksburg, Texas, and we found this diner. So we pulled into the diner, and I don't know, it was probably 6 o'clock. They were closing at 8, and had a good meal. And then after our meal, we're talking to the cashier and said, well, you know, we're looking for a place to park our camper so we can get some sleep. Can we park in your parking lot? And she said, sure, why not? Good old Texans. The next morning, we drove a little ways down the road and went to the Lyndon Bains Johnson National Park. And our first stop was the Sauer Beckman Living History Farm. Now, this is an actual farm that had been here, and they have Workampers that dress up and take care of the farm. And as you walk through, you know, they answer your questions and tell you all about the Beckman family. Then off to see the LBJ Ranch and National Historical Park. Then after that, we were back to Johnson City to see LBJ's boyhood home. This is the boyhood home of Lyndon B. Johnson. This is where he moved from the ranch back to town so he could concentrate on his political career. And he lived here until 1951, and he moved back out onto the ranch. Then, that afternoon, we were back on the road, headed to Corpus Christi, Texas. It was a long day. Day 5 ended after a long drive at the Naval Air Station there, Corpus Christi, Texas. Recreational campground. $20 a night. Not a bad deal. Full hookups. Can't beat it. Day 6, Tuesday. That morning, we had an appointment with Gate Guard Services. We took our course. We took our test. We had an orientation. Got our uniforms, signed a whole bunch of papers, And then the next thing you know, we're gate guards. Now, after our appointment at gate guard services, day 7 and 8, we just sort of hung out. We did a little prepping, talked about the opportunities, and went to see a movie or two, went over to Padre Island, just sort of relaxed and hung out and probably ate too much again. So all of that is the good news. Now we're here till Thursday, and then on Friday, day 9, we're going to Whitsett, Texas. We're going to the yard, and we're going to sit over there and wait for a gate. So the bad news is, got to wait for a gate. We're not worried. We knew we would probably have to wait for a gate at least a little while, and the yard will be our pre-gate guard experience. Now when Jill and I got on the road, we decided that we weren't going to have pets. A little selfish, I guess. I love pets. Jill loves pets. So we decided we weren't going to have pets. We're just going to love up on everybody else's pets. So we treat them like grandchildren. Love them while you got them, and then give them back to whoever they belong to. Now with that said, I know a lot of you that have watched the channel for a while, you know that I have a monkey. And Monkey has been in a few videos, but that's sort of our pet. And then when we got to Texas, since we had a monkey, we figured we'd buy a chicken. So we went out and bought a chicken. Hope you enjoyed our story. If you liked our story, click like below. Subscribe if you'd like to hear more stories like this one. I don't know where I'll be next week. I'm hoping I can get another video out on Friday, like I always do. But I don't know where I'm gonna be. I might not have a signal. Who knows? But either way, I'll try to get something out. And until later, thanks for your time. Bye.